Hello, everyone. This is JT from channel TQC, and this is not a test. Reports have been coming in from theaters around the world.
Live outside KCXC, it's Steven with Channel TE, and the audiences are divided. Critics are debating, and something strange is happening.
We here at PTSS have found out it's Disclosure Day, and with your help, we want to uncover the truth.
And they are deciding whether the latest sci fi phenomenon from Steven Spielberg deserves all the attention.
Whatever is happening, it is unlike anything we've ever seen. People are panicking behind me as we speak. This is.
What you're about to hear is real life. Here is some audio from people around the world on Disclosure Day. Let's hear what they have to say. Welcome back. This is Bruce with the Quantum Couch podcast, past the silver screen, TE, as you already know, Transcend Entertainment. And with another episode, this one is called Disclosure Day, with my counterparts, my cohorts, my brothers in crime, JT and Steven. What up, fellas?
What up?
Living the dream.
Steven, how are you feeling about our New York Knicks winning that?
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Proud New Yorkers of the channel right here.
You're a very super special individual. This is why we love you, JT.
So hey, to all my Spurs fans, I'm sorry. We tried. I'm not a Spurs fan. I just rooted for him. I got some close ties and some connections, but it's all right.
Yeah,
Listen, I'm
go
not
Grizzlies.
against the Spurs. I don't mind the Spurs. In fact, I like I said post recording, I respect the fact that we played the way we played against the Spurs. We brung every little bit of our game to that team, and it was worth it. Couldn't have wanted it any other way. When I first seen game one, I was skeptical about the series. I was like, man, it's going to be a blowout. It's going to look like a setup. I don't want it like that. So I'm just glad. So respect to the Spurs and their fans. New York, we did it, baby.
Yeah,
And
baby.
talking about bringing your game, I mean, let's talk about how Steven Spielberg brought his absolute A game to Disclosure Day, because this movie was fantastic.
Absolutely.
To kick everything off, we're just kind of going to go over, everyone will give their quick thoughts of the movie, and then we'll just jump straight into spoiler talk. And we'll let you guys know with our classic alarm sounds once we're hitting that spoiler discussion. But who wants to start it off?
Yeah, I can go.
Let me jump right. Go ahead, JT. You got it.
Okay, fine.
No, you go ahead.
So first and foremost, I was unable. I think my two gentlemen over here will also agree. No popcorn buckets this time around. I don't know if they were selling them there where y'all are at, but no popcorn buckets for me. No deer head. No robin on the deer antlers. None of that. Wish I got it, but I didn't. So, and also,
my question is, what did it been though?
Well, that's what it was. That was the popcorn bucket. It was the deer head with the robin on it.
Oh, that was it.
That was legit. That was legit. So
holy shit.
Also no no cups. No cups.
Oh wow.
Nope.
So nothing merchandise wise. However, my theater was nice enough to give us a little poster for the movie. So that was pretty neat, pretty cool. If you want to see what that looks like, go check out our social medias. Yes, we are on social media, everyone. Under Transcend Entertainment. You can also find us on Past the Silver Screen or the Quantum Couch. Just type in any of those and you'll find us. We're there. And I posted my picture of the poster and my ticket, like I always do with the movies. So,
Nice.
So yeah, I had to get that out of the way. Nothing special on the merchandise front except for a nice poster, but that is about it. So Disclosure Day, y'all know me. I was super excited to go see this movie. I think in our last episode when we broke down the summer blockbusters, I said I was going to give this a 5 out of 5 on excitement, and I do feel like I may have had it a little too high. Not that I didn't like the movie, but to me, this movie was a tale of two halves. I think that with a Steven Spielberg movie, Jaws, you have all the Indiana Jones movies, you have Ready Player One, you have Steven likes to do this thing where he likes to start it off with the introductions of who people are. He likes to get it slow, and then there is a moment in every one of his movies that bop, you feel that tonal shift. It pops,
Mhm.
and you're like, now I'm locked in. Now I'm ready to go. And there was this moment in this movie where that happened, and we'll get
Yeah.
into it later. Like Steven said, our Steven, not Spielberg Steven, where Steven said about spoilers. So we'll get into it in a little bit. But yeah, the first half was a little slower. It was a slow burn, and then the second half of the movie just absolutely goes crazy. Does not stop. I texted Steven after the movie and I said, "Bro, I was locked in. I was completely locked in. Did
Yeah.
not blink that entire 45 minutes. Like it was crazy.
Mhm.
Um but that slow part does hurt the pacing. It does.
Yeah.
You kind of have to get past that first exposition, and you kind of have to get past um, the introductions of all these characters, and sometimes some of the characters get a little annoying at times. I'm looking at you, Wyatt Russell. But there are also characters where you're like, hey, Emily Blunt, you probably should deserve a nomination for whatever award is coming up. Like, because, oh my God, she plays an amazing role. Um,
Amazing.
but I really enjoyed the movie. I think that there are movies out there where if it doesn't stick the landing, we talk about this on TV shows all the time. Does the finale stick the landing? And if it does, it makes
Mhm.
the whole season good. The last part of this movie absolutely stuck to the landing with what it's trying to tell us and what Steven Spielberg is trying to get the audiences to understand and listen. And yeah, it absolutely stuck the landing. And to me, the movie gets a 4 out of 5 on my first watch. I do want to rewatch this, and it might go up after that. I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of people talk about, hey, the fact that second on your second rewatch, you will start to understand more and more about it.
Mm.
So that gets me excited. But yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5 on my first watch.
I
Bruce,
mean,
what do you
I
think?
don't remember what I don't remember what I gave it on rating originally for expected movies of the summer. I
I
forgot
think
what
three
I
and a half.
gave it.
Yeah,
I had a half,
Yeah,
like
three and a
three and a
half.
half, or um. I guess now that I've seen it, I'm gonna give it a little bit of higher score. I'm not a whole lot higher. I'm gonna bring it up to a 4, to be honest. Um, I think JT, I share with you on that. There were some lulls in it, and I get why Spielberg does that. It's like you said, he does a lot of backstory development with some of these characters, so you can get more emotionally affected by their turns. But
Mhm.
I think within that, it was way too long for the kind of movie that it was. And then you're right, that pivot point, once that hit, we was like, oh, wow, now this is what the movie is. And so it felt really good. I liked it more than I thought I would, honestly. Uh, you know what it did give me vibes of? And it's funny you mentioned that. It gave me vibes of Indiana Jones
mm,
and the Crystal
Yeah.
Skulls, right? Like it had that feeling, and I get it, Spielberg. Maybe he did tap into some of that, um, but it felt like that. Even the aliens, right? Like they kind of looked similar to the ones he had, right? Um, but my standout in it was definitely Emily Blunt. I wanted it to be Coleman Domingo because I love, and he's, come on,
He's
yo,
great.
Coleman is in
He's so good.
everything right now. That man is hot right now. He's on
Yeah.
fire. So
yeah,
respect to Coleman, man. Come on the show. But yeah, so Emily Blunt, she had me since the go. Like I was
yeah.
like, man, this character that she's playing is so goofy and fun loving and witty, and when she gets in the car and she's singing the Gwen Stefani part, like I was like,
Mhm.
yo, I was committed to her character. She reminded me of my girlfriend, that kind of feeling. Like she was so relatable. and she brought it to the screen. I love that. My least favorite character, and I agree with you on this, was Wyatt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I was
Wow.
hoping his ass would have stayed in Georgia or wherever the heck they were. I'm like, stay there. Don't leave her alone. Let her go and find Josh O'Connor's character. Let her, like let's just leave this guy alone. But yeah. So I mean, it could have easily been Colin Firth's character,
Mm.
that
Easily, yeah.
which
Yeah.
I think his name was Noah. I
Yeah.
could have easily hated him, but no, it was Wyatt Russell. Yeah, yeah, and it could be that I did not love him after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, maybe that. But
Mm.
still,
Mm.
I'm still reeling over that scene. But yeah, no, it was annoying. And so that I loved it. I thought it was a good movie. Again, in my reaction video, I kind of say it's a good movie to watch. I want to watch it with the family. Like, don't bring your little kids to it. Maybe adult children and a partner or whoever. But it was a good movie to watch. It was good entertainment. I think you're right. If I go see it again, maybe I'll have a different interpretation of it. But yeah. I give it 4 instead of my 3.5. So it got bumped up at least. Steven, what
Okay.
you got?
Yeah, I mean, nothing that you guys haven't already said. This I thought this movie when I first gave it a rating on the podcast, it was about a 4.5 for an excitement level. Um, my official rating was a 4. JT and I pretty much scored it the exact same on our video on YouTube. So it is one of those movies though that I truly I'm a believer of movies are getting better with rewatches, especially when it comes down to like understanding them more. Because with the backrooms, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, like it's like a 3.5, and the second time I watched that movie, it became like a 4.5, and it's just
Nice.
slowly creeping its way into being like a 5. And with
Oh wow.
Disclosure Day, I think this is going to be another one of those movies where, after maybe another rewatch or two rewatches, it'll probably be up there. It's already one of my favorite Steven Spielberg movies that he's done. Um, I think it's because he is a master at what he does, and we've seen it time and time again with this filmography that he has to prove it. Uh, but
Right.
I'm gonna go against the grain on this one here. I personally really liked Wyatt Russell's character. I liked the comedy relief that he brought. I thought he was almost an interpretation of if everybody else was in the movie, kind of how we'd be reacting. Because
Mm.
you can't tell me that
Mm,
both you guys, if
okay.
your partners weren't doing some crazy stuff like that, you'd be like, we need to call the hospital right now because there's something wrong. Like it was just
Nah.
I could see myself
Nah.
in that role. Because if Hannah, I love
Nah.
Hannah to death, but if she was out there talking in
Mm-mm.
fluent Korean and she was like passing out, got an MRI, I'd be like, yeah, you're going to the hospital, brother. Like, I'm sorry, but there's no way that you're just gonna be coming home. Like, so I
Get
get
in the
it,
car.
but yeah, like Colin Firth's character he was great, and I think when an actor does a good job at making you hate the character, they're doing their job
Yeah.
110% correctly. Just like Wyatt
Yeah.
Russell and Falcon and the Winter
Yeah,
Soldier, if they can
I
get you to
agree.
hate him, they
Yeah.
did their job. And
Yeah.
Colin
Yeah.
Firth was
All right, that's
fantastic.
fair.
I thought he was solid. But yeah, overall, I
Oh
love the
my God.
movie. I think it'll get better.
Yeah, I think this is a movie, and I said this as well. Uh, this is gonna have like people are either gonna hate it or they're gonna love it. I don't
Yeah.
see any in between. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see some 3.5s. Like I see some 3.5s, and those every time I see a 3.5 on Letterbox or on on social media, it always
Right.
ends saying I'm gonna have to rewatch this.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's fair.
You don't see anybody say, yeah, this was, you know, this was okay, like this was fine. Like either you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think I've reached the threshold of loving it. I think I'm right there at the
Mm.
really, really, really liking it.
Hmm.
Um, because like I don't know that first half where it was very slow, very mundane, kind of figuring out and leading up to the second half of the movie. I mean, it is a 2 hour, 25, 30 minute movie, whatever, like 2.5 hours almost. And like at times you feel that pace. Like you're like,
Mhm.
all right, let's get it going. I mean, it kicks off right with Josh O'Connor's character, Daniel. I mean, he
Yeah.
is like, he is just chilling, watching a
Open up with
wrestling match.
wrestling.
I, I'll say, you know what? I'll say this. Hey, when it started off with wrestling, I looked at Madison and I said, "I'm gonna love this movie."
Nope.
I said,
I was sitting there, I was like,
said
that was a
this is-
good arm drag. All right, this is gonna be
Yeah,
good.
I was like, "Oh, he's whipping him in the corner." Okay, all right. So that, yeah, we're cooking with fire here. We love it. But overall, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the movie immensely because I do think that it's. I mean, when you think of an alien movie, the first person that comes to mind is Steven Spielberg. Like
Yeah.
Yep.
like you don't think of anybody else doing, you know, doing that. And I do need to shout out Steven, the wrestlers that were involved, because in that match you had Red Wrestler, Lance Hoyt. I guess
Mhm.
I'm pronouncing that. That is Lance Archer.
Nice.
Brian Cage is Blue Wrestler, no name, and the referee is none other than the legendary Chavo Guerrero Jr.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I
shout
saw that.
out
When I saw
to
him in the corner, I was like, is that really? I didn't believe it for a second.
Ooh,
So I looked up the cast
Chavo.
afterwards. It is awesome. So shout
Yeah,
out, because
yeah.
like I love that they got wrestlers too. Like they got people that know
Yes.
the business to make it look
Yes.
real. It wasn't just like,
Yes.
oh, we're
Yeah.
just gonna make a wrestling match and it's like not good.
Yeah.
So I love that.
They
Yeah.
stayed authentic with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, movies that do that, like Macho Man was in Spider-Man as a wrestler. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Which
Then
was
you have
smart.
like
Yeah.
then you have like MJF, who was in
Happy Gilmore too.
Iron. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was also in not Happy. The Iron Claw. Like he was a wrestler
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Iron Claw. So it's like I love
And
when
throwback, Hulk Hogan in Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot about
Throwback.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when
Absolutely.
when actual wrestlers become wrestlers in a movie, that's awesome. So shout out to Steven Spielberg for that, knowing the art and respecting the
Shout
art.
out. The
Um,
only exception is Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler, because as a
yes.
non-wrestler who does that, he did fantastic. And we know about the Mickey
Can
Well,
Rourke
he's
I
a
history with
boxer.
Bruce.
He's a boxer. So, yeah. So he
can I
has that ring etiquette because he was a boxer. So.
can I one up you though?
Yeah.
Zac Efron in
Iron
the Iron
Claw.
Claw.
Fantastic. Beautiful performance too.
And he
So
bulked
good.
up. And he freaking looked
yeah.
amazing. Like his
He was yoked.
physique for that was like insane. I was
Mhm.
like, bro, what the hell is he doing? But yeah,
But
good
yeah,
juice. Good
so
point.
so I really
Yeah.
respected that. But there was moments, like, now that I'm thinking about it, where I was like, all right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get to what
Yeah.
we're here for. Let's do this. And I think that kind of caused my rating to drop a little bit, just because I was like, okay, like, let's do this. And I wanted, maybe I'm a little greedy, but I wanted to see more aliens. Like I wanted to
I don't blame
see,
you.
I'm with you on that. You're
like
not
I
alone.
like I wanted to see more of it, and I was like, what we got was awesome.
Yeah.
Also, huge disappointment because the one scene that it's not a spoiler, so I can tell it because it's in the trailer, is the scene from the deer to the alien. If they did
Yeah.
not show that, bro, seeing that on
You stole
screen
that
was
from my mind, bro. Seriously, my same reaction. Like I wish that wasn't in the trailer, because
Yeah.
I wish it would have caught me off guard, and I wanted that eerie effect of it. Like seriously, because it was dope. It was. I mean, when he first walks in there, he sees the deer, like, and all of the animals start, and I'm like, and he's just so calm. Like if I had not known that was coming, I would have been. I mean, I felt it a little bit, but I would have been completely blown away. Like,
Mhm.
holy.
I will
Yeah.
say too,
Oh,
onto that, and I mentioned this in my video part of it. I went in IMAX and saw it, and there was no wow moments. Like I love seeing. Don't get me wrong. Every movie that is in IMAX looks incredible.
Yeah.
However, I could have seen this on a regular Joe Schmo screen and been like, "Oh, this looks incredible!" Like there just wasn't
Yeah.
like there wasn't anything that wowed me. You know,
Oh, you mean like I did? I watched it. Actually, it was enhanced, but it wasn't IMAX though.
right,
Yeah,
right. But
you're
they're
right.
like the aliens look cool, and
Yeah,
some of
they
the other things like looked cool. But also, I have said it here, and I'll say it again every time we see it. animals are super tough to CGI.
Mhm.
Yeah,
When they move, when the fox looked a little wonky when he
it
Yeah.
jumped
did
up,
look wonky.
when
On the
he like
chair.
jumped up on the table. Yeah, yeah, on the chair. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, ooh. I was like, all right,
Yeah, I
well,
didn't mind him on the street, but when he did the table thing, you're right. That's where you get
Yeah.
that weird. It looked very animated.
yeah,
Didn't look
Mhm.
authentic.
and I
Yeah,
was like, and I get it. There, like, you can't have live animals. Like if it's a dog or a cat, like sure you can probably get a dog or a cat
yeah,
to just come in there. But like you can't have a deer, can't have a fox,
yeah,
can't have a raccoon, can't have a robin. Like I get it, but like
Mhm.
I don't know, it just looked a little off to me, and I was like,
yeah,
okay, well,
yeah.
so
Does
I
it lose
again,
points for that though? Does it lose points for that?
not a
Or
lot.
do we give him
I feel like the
grace?
I think
I feel like the
well, I was
positives
gonna say
outweigh those little negatives.
yeah,
Okay.
and for me, when I give ratings, it's not like there are some things that drop it a whole point. Like if there's an actor that I do not like that is in this movie, it will drop a whole point or it'll drop several
Yeah.
points.
Right.
But these little things, like they all come together. So like it all
Right.
comes together as 1 point off of a 5 out of 5. And so like
Mm.
again, my first initial rewatch is a 4 out of 5 for me at least.
You know what? I like that perspective because I feel similar to that. Like this movie, the culmination of all the things I could have done without or didn't like as much are small enough to where it doesn't impact the overall. And you can see my score went up a point or half a
Mm-hmm.
point. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think it was never enough to make me go, I didn't like it. I mean, where there are
Mhm.
other movies and you'd be like, oh my God, I gotta rethink that score for sure. Woo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
one, you're right. I think the culmination is what did it, you know, not making it a five to me. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Right.
I wanted to give Spielberg's Return a five because he's Spielberg, right? And he's never, not just by name alone, but the weight that his name carries for all the fantastic things he's done.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I wanted to give him a five just off of that merit alone. But four's still good, man. Four's
Yeah.
still good.
Yeah. No,
It's
it
hard
is.
to
It
make a
is.
good movie,
Absolutely.
and I think a lot of people need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
realize that not
Yeah.
everything can be the greatest thing you've ever
absolutely.
seen. There's going to be duds, and with Spielberg, this may be a hot take, but Disclosure Day, if it's considered his, let's say, worst movie, it's probably a lot of directors' best movie.
Best movie. Yep.
I agree. That's not a hot take, brother. That is the truth.
Yeah.
Like it is
Yeah.
just
100%. Yeah.
that's how we used to him and
Yeah.
his great work that we are is that we're expecting everything to be that five because he's delivered so many. And the moment
Mm-hmm.
that it's
100%.
not, people just start to throw him to the wolves. And
Yeah.
I don't agree with those people because I get it. Like JT said before, this is a hard movie to watch in the beginning because you're
Yeah.
literally waiting. You're like, I know what I'm here for. This is not what I'm here for
Yeah.
right now. When is it gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen? But
Mm-hmm.
once it does hit, like JT said,
Mhm.
it rolls and you're on a journey. And like there was a moment because I saw it with Damien, and there was parts of the movie where we're sitting there and it's all
Shout out
going
to
down.
Damien.
Shout out Damien, and we are
Yeah.
stop. We're looking at each other in the theater, like back and forth, just like we couldn't believe how like it was just every single like I want to say every 5 to 10 minutes, it would the stakes were getting higher and higher, and the tension was
Mm-hmm.
growing,
Hmm.
and you're like, oh my god, how is
Yeah.
this even going to end? And I think maybe it's because we had that kind of connection and reaction to it that maybe it is why it was so much better to me. But
Mm-hmm.
but no, other than that, I agree with every single thing that you guys have said. It's tough to make a
I
good
will
movie.
say this. I know it's tough. And I think, and just piggybacking that last point there, Stephen, I think we're also so far into what movies have been doing for
Mhm.
for the last, what, 10, 15 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That we're looking at it through a lens that encompasses things like Infinity Wars, right? And all these
Yeah.
great pieces that have good source of material and you talking about CGI, all of that stuff, right? And so when we look at it, we're doing two things. We're comparing Spielberg to Spielberg, right? Which is worth doing
Mhm.
in itself. But then we're also through a lens of advanced um artistry now. It's like we're looking
Yeah.
at it going, is Spielberg making a movie that, that fits today's kind of expectations as well,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think in that way alone, he lived up to the charge, I think, on both fronts, right? So I
Yeah.
think the only place that he probably takes an L on is Spielberg versus Spielberg, right? That's the only thing I could probably say, you know, could he have gone to 5 if he would have Spielberg the shit out of it more? I don't know. Excuse my
Yeah.
profanity, but I'm just thinking to myself,
Like
like, could he advance it? Yeah,
if it was more spectacular. And do you remember like
yeah.
okay, quick, it's not a spoiler because it was in the trailer. Do you remember that shot of the little girl walking with the animals in that magical snow forest?
Hmm.
If they maybe
Yeah,
introduced those elements and made it more fantasy-esque or
yeah.
spectacular, it probably would have, like, all around the movie, not just that one part. It could have been probably a lot better than what we're giving it credit for right now.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Like,
I agree.
if you introduce that these are elements that we can see, like that, I think that would drive it up. But even then, the parts that we do get, it makes sense because they do a lot of storytelling within the details. And
Yeah.
without spoiling anything
Yeah.
until our discussion here within the next minute or two, we don't know what the hell Coleman Domingo's character is doing and where he's at until the final
No.
act of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, should we kick
yeah.
off the spoiler talk then?
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's do it. Let's jump right in there.
So we
Alrighty.
have to give
I
our spoiler talk in 3, 2, 1. Wah, wah, wah. Yep.
I'm just gonna get this off my chest.
Yeah.
Get
Get
off.
it?
Me and Damien were talking about it because after we saw the movie, we went back to his house and he lives out in kind of like the country area. We're sitting there staring at the stars, and we do see some weird flashes, shit like that. So we were like, "Whoa!" Like we're seeing something, right? Like I think it could have just also been our imagination wanting us
Yeah,
to
and I
believe
think it
that we're
was.
seeing something. But we were talking about if two people
Wait, wait,
get
wait,
abducted.
wait. Is this where you tell us you were abducted and probed?
Oh yeah, you'll see. You'll see. I'm actually getting right to that point. So, two people get abducted, and we see in the movie Margaret and Daniel. His name's right, Daniel Kellner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we see them get abducted, and we have those little artifacts, whatever they are, the things that they can hold in the movie. Goes
Yep.
over their eye, gives them like that thing. Now, if you're Daniel, how pissed off are you that you're only good at math while Emily Bunt is good at speaking fluent languages, understanding languages, seeing people's memories, and understand? Bro, she
Yeah,
knows
that's true.
everything. I would be so mad if I was Daniel. I'd be like, great,
But wait,
you can unlock the secrets of the universe,
she
and
was
I know the square root of 6,000. Come on, guys.
well, she was more perceptive and she was more invested as a little kid. She's the one that calmed him down, right? So I think just based off of that alone is why she got more of that because she was more willing. You know what I mean? Like she was more inviting to it. Whereas like he
Yeah.
still was kind of scared and some of the stuff he didn't catch. But I also think that it was dope that they kind of needed each other in that way too, right? Like
Because they never could
even
get
though
the
I
whole
don't know that
picture
she wasn't
until
good
they're
at math.
together.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
I will say too, like I think because they both had this like awakening because they saw
yeah,
an animal. I was like, that's quite interesting because how many times did they like go out in their lives and see animals, then all of a sudden this one robin just happens to you know pop in and be like, oh, and now you have your powers or your awakening, like because hers didn't kick in until just recently of the movie, and then his
Yeah.
has been there since since what do you say, 12 years, something like that. Like he's had
Yeah,
his
like
for a while, so he's understood this for a long time. He just didn't know or didn't remember, and I don't
right.
know if this was like because of the aliens, but he didn't know that there was a second person. He thought he was
Mhm.
just the only
Yeah,
one. And I honestly, in the theater, I looked over at Madison and I said, I think they're siblings. I was completely off because they're not. But
no,
I was like,
but I thought the same thing, JT. I swear, I
Women
was like, oh,
crazy.
we're gonna find out that they're family
Yeah,
until we see that they're not, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah,
And so, but like overall, I think they both needed each other in a family way to calm
yeah,
each other
Exactly.
down. To
yeah,
they were just the chosen ones.
yeah,
And I liked that aspect of having saying like saying okay, I have this person who has the same situation going that I do. Let's try to see what else. Like let's try to see if there's anything else that we need to do. Um, I also will say we've talked about it a lot in this podcast, and all the listeners were probably like, the ones that haven't seen the movie, they're like, where is this tonal shift? Where is this? It is the
mm,
it is the train scene, is it not, gentlemen?
yeah,
It is
yeah,
the chase
Yeah.
scene when they're
yeah,
when Daniel and Margaret are in the car. Margaret's driving, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden they come to a stop,
yeah,
and then a train comes by, and then they get pushed closer and closer. I was sitting in my chair and I was
yeah.
like, all right. I was stressing out, guys. I was like,
Yeah, I
yo.
was I was with you on that. I was stressing the hell out.
I was
And
like,
I gotta say, it felt Spielberg. That whole
mm,
scene
That felt
encompassed an
Indiana
action
Jones.
scene for Spielberg. Straight up. That was so Spielberg. Down to like the long period of her almost getting to the ladder,
Hmm.
but then falling back every time.
yeah,
Like that long, prolonged excitement or anxiety driven moment. Yeah, that was
yeah,
that was some Spielberg moment. Yeah, it was
yeah.
good. But yeah,
I
yeah,
think
JT.
I think Emily Blunt's character doesn't that wasn't her standout moment for me, but it was definitely Josh O'Connor's standout moment for me.
Oh, word.
Oh,
When
he
they
was
get on
Yes.
the
crazy.
when they get on the train and he's like calming her down and doing the best to
Yeah.
like get her out of this panic attack. Like I just felt so
Yes.
like yeah,
Yeah, he's
that's
here. I feel him.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you.
For a
Yeah, that was a
for a
good one.
moment in that scene, I was sitting there that for some reason I got like pretty emotional watching that scene where she's like, I can't feel my hand, like I'm shaking, I don't have
Oh,
any feeling, and she's like I got so emotional during that part where I was like,
it was a
these two
panic
people,
attack.
they're acting their asses off, and it was
Yep.
one of my
Word.
favorite scenes I've seen in any movie this year because it had a great
Yeah,
job of making you
yeah,
feel that panic and like. And she also makes a joke of like, I
yeah.
have Parkinson's, like I my dad has it, I have it now, and
Yeah,
like that was
yeah,
just
but
it was incredible.
that was so serious. Yeah, that was a man, you're right. Um in that moment, I kind of was like I felt unnerved
Mm,
Mhm.
because of how good it was.
yeah.
Right? Like I
Yeah.
felt unnerved because I was like, man, is this scene very intense for an alien movie? What is happening here?
Mhm.
Right?
That was
Mhm.
And
the moment I went,
yeah, but
"There's an Oscar."
that was yeah,
Yeah.
that was Josh O'Connor's moment. Like JT said though, to kind of own his character a little bit, right? Like to have the control, whereas Emily Blunt is pretty much in control the entire time. That one area is where he does, but the
Mhm.
acting chops goes to her
Yeah.
in that scene. The
Yeah.
acting chops goes to her. Whereas the scene, she stole the scene with her acting. You could do see the writers giving um Josh O'Connor's character the leverage to be more than just a sidekick.
Yeah.
Because that's what he
Right.
feels like sometimes. It's like, oh, he's just Robin. He's Emily Blunt's Robin. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
And
yeah,
I think to piggyback off of that, I like someone was asking me who's the main character. At times it's Daniel, but at other times it's
Mhm.
also Margaret. And I'm
Yeah.
like, there's two. I mean, there's two main characters in this movie. Like there are like two leads in this movie. I will also say
but
another point is at the end when the entire movie we have seen every scene that Coleman Domingo's in. He's like like the man behind the desk almost.
yeah,
Um, and then finally we see like construction in the background. We see like a
yeah,
house being built. We see and you have no
yeah,
idea what it is,
nah,
but then you get to the moment where it comes to
yeah,
fruition and you see it what it is. And when Emily Blunt's character is walking in and she's naming all the people because she knows who they are because of this power
That
she
was
has.
crazy.
She's naming
Yeah.
everyone, and the one lady gets down on her knees and is like praying, and she's like, "I'm not your
Oh, that was
religion." I was
crazy.
Yeah.
like, I was like, Steven, you nailed it because people would do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were people out there in this world, in the real world, where if aliens came from a UFO right now and just like whoop swooped on in, people would honestly sit there and be like, well, here's my God,
Yeah.
here's my calling, here's the
Forget everything
but
you've
like
ever known. This is it.
Yeah.
yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, and I'm glad that he touched upon that where he was, or even Emily Blunt's character, even Margaret was like, no, do not like, I'm
Yeah.
not your
I'm
like,
not somebody God. Yeah.
yeah, like no, I'm not that. So that was a good job. But then
That was good.
like you
That
see
was good.
what the house was, and you see her having
Yeah.
this emotional moment of, you know, realizing that this is her old house, and
Hmm.
uh, yeah, that was just I love that
I
part
will
of it.
say this though. What I thought the whole time watching as the background starts to develop a little bit for Coleman Domingo's character and what we're seeing happening literally in the background, I
Hmm.
really thought this was a place where they were going to come to and they were going to drop the news. I thought that's where they're going to report from.
Mm,
I thought they were building a sound stage or something like a media stage. And then to find out, no, that's just so that she can then tap into the recesses of her memory to open up what had been always hidden away. And I think I want to backtrack a little bit one second here, JT, because you're right. I didn't think about that until you pointed that out. Like these people have lived an entire adult life, children's childhood, everything, adolescence, and did not must have seen cardinals 1,000 times, deers 1,000,000 times,
yep.
and never did they once have a freaking moment. And then here's that one time one flies into the window, and now she's like, "Oh, I have superpowers."
Yep. Yep.
So I thought that was kind of weird. And you're right. I don't
Well, even
know
then, she didn't
what the
know.
story. Yeah, yeah. Well, you're right. It took for the house scene to take more, to bring that more to fruition. But even then, JT's not wrong in saying, why now though? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
why is? But is
I
that
thought it was
now? Here's my
cool.
proposition.
Yeah.
I just want to ask this question from both of you guys, just to answer that moment there. Do we assume? Because remember, there's this whole other thing happening where it's nuclear war possibilities. This, World War III on the horizon. Do we think that that moment, this whole thing is coming to fruition because that's happening? Like they need this moment to happen so that the world can just humble out and be like, yo, what? We are minuscule compared to the entirety of the existence. I mean, do you guys think that's what that was thematically?
I don't think if Margaret
Uh,
ever saw the Robin that it would ever lead to that point. I think Margaret would have been going about her business the way that she did because you saw Hugo and Daniel, they had that this has been planned. I mean, you had that moment where they were
yeah.
like, "Oh, 14 people didn't show up for work." They were eventually going to go through and reveal this here. Um, but I don't know, it's a good point cuz Hugo did say like there was always two. And like he kept
Yeah.
bringing that point up. And then when he met
Hmm.
Margaret, he was like, "Look at me," and she was like, "No, like I'll know who you are. I'll know everything about you."
Yeah,
And it could
Hmm.
be that maybe
yeah,
they're waiting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was sitting there during the film, and when he mentioned that there was always two, and I was kind of like, okay, that's interesting that you thought that, but you were still going to go on with the plan because
Yeah, yeah,
like I almost kind of feel like they needed like they were going to go with go on with their plan of disclosing this information. Great. That's the thing. That's the situation. That's the plot. But I also feel like it was great to have someone who is like a news anchor to have that you know that background and have that understanding of like breaking news to people because I can't see like Hugo's character or uh David just being like hey guys this is and they even said it in the break room when the when the news anchors all were reporting that this footage is real, blah blah. Someone even asked in the break room, "Is this AI? Is this fake?" And they're like, "No, we just ran a
Yeah.
background check. This is real." Like this, and I was like, I'm glad that they said that because a lot of people like that. If something popped up on your screen right now, and you'd be like, especially in today's world, when you're like,
Mhm.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But then having like they made sure to get extra evidence out there that
Yeah.
okay, this is legit. This is real. I don't know. I feel like Margaret's character was needed, but I also feel like they could have done it without her. But I don't think. Okay, it's going to sound confusing. I think they could have gotten the mission done without her, but I don't think the mission would have been a success, without her. If that makes sense.
Exactly. Because if they just went and upload the footage and all the documents online, everyone's like, "Well, AI, this is a story
Yeah,
of AI." Like,
yeah,
if there wasn't any sort
yeah,
of reporter behind it, like Margaret, it wouldn't have the official hit of like,
yeah.
"Oh
Hmm.
wow, this
Agreed.
is on
It
the
would have been
news."
debunked. Yeah,
And
Yep.
on the same front about AI, shout out to Emily Blunt and Steven Spielberg for saying, "Screw AI, we're not doing
Hmm.
this." Emily Blunt spoke fluent or
that
as
was
fluent as some can
insane.
be, different languages,
Wow.
and
Oh, Russian.
she made
Woo!
the alien noises all by herself.
Oh, that
That's
is
insane.
insane.
Like
That is
when
insane, dude.
she's been on multiple interviews doing the noises, talking about it, and I'm like
Yeah,
what
respect,
That's a
like that's
superpower in of
respect for the
itself.
crazy.
craft.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a respect for the craft. That man. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh man, that was good. Yeah, that's good.
I
That's good.
do. I
yeah.
Good
will
point.
say I do love that moment
Wow.
where she is in the newsroom and she goes and sits down with one of those with the Korean man and she's speaking Korean and the guy's like,
Yeah.
"When did you learn to
Oh,
speak Korean?" She's like, "What are you talking about?" She's just
Yeah,
like
wait,
going
wait,
on with
God.
her day.
You know
Like,
what? Actually, I'm glad you said that because that's something I really enjoyed. That there was
mhm,
this unconscious development occurring that they weren't a privy to. And that's because in their mind, as authentic as it is, they're code switching without knowing that it's happening.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
me sometimes speaking Spanish and English. Sometimes when I would be at home, I would transition between Spanish and English as if they were the same thing. So that's a real thing. So good for them for doing that and pointing that out because that was beautiful. I want to say, do you think, and this is more humorous, but do you guys think that Emily Blunt studied Bruce Almighty for her scene as the weather person? Because she was so goofy and on point, but I loved it. I loved it, but I thought it was
the
so reminiscent of
hailstone.
yeah.
yo, that was so good shit. It was so goofy, but I
And
loved
also,
it. I
can I
loved it.
just
Anyway,
I want to piggyback off that, Bruce, because like she was really goofy and fun as a weather person. When news is more
yeah,
mundane and boring, so like she almost had to carry on that role of like, yeah, I want to make work a fun place. That leads
yeah.
to one of my favorite scenes in the movie where they're sitting in the car breaking out of the hospital, and you see the rain
Oh
stop,
yeah.
and the wipers are still going off, and the hail hits, and she's like, "Oh my god, keep going!" And Wyatt's
What
like,
is that?
"No hail dance," like that was awesome to me. I love that moment.
That was so good. All right, that might have been his one moment that was like, all right,
I
brother,
love that.
that was good.
Or he was like, "I gotta
No,
go
no,
get a
no, no, no.
water," and he's inside calling the doctor.
No,
Yo.
the other
That's
part is
good.
when Coleman Domingo's like, uh, you know where to go. Throw your phone out, destroy your phone. And she throws the phone out, and
Yo.
then she's like, destroy the phone. And he's like, you missed the phone. Go back. And then she gets out and starts stomping on it.
That was so
I was
funny.
like, oh my gosh.
Tell me
He
this
was
though. Tell me this. Did you guys not think, yo, when she got out the car, I was like, oh man, she gonna get caught. Like I kept thinking that, like, yo, they
Yeah,
gonna come out and find her. Cause that was a lot of time spent trying to crush that phone. I was like, oh my
yeah.
God, they're gonna
And
catch
you're
her. So the
telling me
whole
that no
time
one
I
saw
sat with
her?
like anxiousness. Yo, I was bugging. The
Yeah.
whole time I was like, yo, they gonna catch her. Yeah,
No, I'm with you. I
so
yeah,
thought the
but that
same
was a good
thing.
scene. I love that.
I think another like moment in this movie that I thought was really interesting to shoot and like the idea of it was when Noah was tapping into Jane's
Oh,
like
Oh
I don't want to
yeah.
say her
Oh, that was
mind,
good.
but like where he was there with her
And
and
you
her
Yo, I
eyes were
love that.
changing colors. And I was like,
That was a
that
good
is
scene.
that is some like
That was beautiful.
psychedelic like she was
Oh
even
yeah.
like he even was asking her like if Daniel walked in the room now, would you be able to harm him? And she was like, no. And then
Yeah.
he asked it again and she's like, yes. And I'm like,
he was like
bro,
out of love,
and
and
then
you're like, oh my god.
yeah,
You
like
know what
this
was also interesting is that her character. See, this is where I kind of going back to what you pointed out with the girl who kneeled in front of Emily Blunt's character Margaret and worshipped her as a deity for that 1 second before she neglected that. Um, I think they picked the nun or um the runaway nun or whatever you want to call her because I think they wanted to see a parallel between religion and science. I mean, I put that in
Yeah.
my synopsis because I thought that was an interesting position to take because we do
mhm
know
mhm
if you've studied any kind of if you studied Christianity as a theology, there is some theory, there's a theoretical part of it that in Revelations, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the Left Behind series and things like that, but there's a theory that at some point aliens will come and that would be the deceptive cleverness of the devil as he's now taking over the planet, right? So that these angels that we would see coming down to warn humanity almost like they did in not Megiddo and what am I trying to say here, uh where she turns into a salt pillar. What the heck was the name of that? Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah. When when you see that in that book where you find out that these two angels and they wanted to molest them and do all of that stuff, there is a theory that in Revelations, that point where the angels are coming down to warn humanity and try to bring up rapture some of them, that people would be like, no, those are aliens to deceive them
mm.
as a plan of the
Mhm.
devil. So I thought that was an interesting factor that they had kind of this. I don't know if it was intentional, but to my mind, that made a connection. I was like, yo, they picked a nun to
Yeah.
be a part of this, where you see her very much at the point where not Hugo, Noah's in her mind, right? And
Mhm
she's grabbing that cross, like her life depended on it. Like she felt like she was being possessed, right? Almost, and she's
Yeah.
holding on to it to the point where she pierces her palm. Wasn't that isn't that like significant to kind of Jesus? And even though it was his
Mhm.
wrist, but always confused with his palm getting pierced by the crucifix. Like I thought there was symbiology, is what I'm trying to say in there,
yeah
kind
yeah
of intelligently placed. I don't think that was coincidence. I thought that was by design, and I think there was some kind of messaging happening there that probably he's trying to narrate a story with that maybe not everybody caught on to. But as I watched that development, I'm like, this feels interesting. Because tell me why other reason why she would go back and call the nun, the mother nun, and the mother nun would be like, have that conversation with her, like, well, no,
mhm
I believe God created large. Why would he just do this, right? There's a reason for that. That's not just a filler moment. There's a point to
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? I don't think Spielberg and the writers were just going, let's just throw random moments in there. I don't think that's by coincidence. I think all of that's by
Mhm.
design. I think there's an alternative story that's happening, but it's all apocalyptic, if you will, right? There's this world ending catastrophe. There's these um alien outings and then freaking this cross with religion. It's like it's just weird. I don't know. That was my perspective on that, but I don't know if you
For
guys felt
sure.
the same way.
Yeah, definitely. And
That was my
I will
rant. That
say
was my rant, guys. Disclaimer.
you're all good. No, and quick shout out to friend of the pod, Cine Josh, because he made a great video on this when it comes down to,
mhm
you know, religion and the mockery of God in this movie, where he talks about like how that's not the theme or that's not the takeaway, because there's themes throughout scripture that there are mysteries that only belong to God. And
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't
Yeah.
checked out his TikTok, I truly like I think everyone should go check it out. He makes great stuff, and that most recent video on Disclosure Day delves a lot deeper into the discussion of, you know, religion and science and the way that they clash in the movie, but it's not supposed to be you're right or wrong. It's the
Yeah.
mysteries. And I think that's, like
Yeah.
you said, Bruce, it's one of those things where they pick that because it's the perfect avenue to run across it. You don't just pick someone who's like, "Oh, I believe in
Yeah.
God," and then you introduce us to them, and they're like, "Okay, well, I guess aliens are real." You know, you got to have someone that
Yeah.
Yeah.
fights that confliction, and they're like,
Yeah.
"I don't know what to believe," and like, how does your perception change
Because
after
that,
something like that is real?
Because she
yeah, the
even mentioned
message
she
to me
even
was,
well, 'cause she even mentioned like he was like, "Oh, you didn't tell me you were a nun," and she
right.
was like, "I was in practicing," and he was like, "Would you lose your faith in God?" He was like, "No, I just lost my view," and
Hmm.
so she never
Yeah.
lost it. But then, like you mentioned, she did talk to the nun, and she was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, what is this?" And she was like, and she basically said like, "Oh no, like yeah, like why would God make this universe and only give it to
Yeah.
us?" And I was like,
Well,
"There
that's
it
what
is."
it was, right? It was the two things could be true at the same time is what they were trying to point out, right? Like
Right, right.
there
Exactly.
isn't a rift. You can't say that God is omnipotent, but yet only created humanity. That you
Hmm.
can't have that. That's just it's unfathomable, and that's only a human's um minuscule mind to interpret. Like that's very humanistic to believe egocentrically we're the only species created and that at the same time saying, well, my God is omnipotent.
Yep.
No, he's omnipotent, which means he also could have created species beyond humanity,
Right.
way larger. So yeah, yeah, yeah. But I thought that was a really nice touch to the story that kind of got overshadowed by the larger storyline, which was we have these kids that were abducted. Now they have a truth that's hidden within them that eventually gets revealed that aliens do exist. You know what I mean? Like it was beautiful like that. But anyways, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
I
loved it.
agree. I agree.
It's a good movie.
I
Good
think
movie.
to wrap it all up, I think the end of the movie where they finally are at the point of disclosing all this information to the public, um, it gets to a moment where you knew things weren't going to go their way, but
Mm.
the fact that Noah finally gets to them. The power is shut off. They cannot like broadcast any channel, like they can't. I I truly believe that the fact that Noah gave up was because he was like, I know the truth, and
Yeah.
I he was like, I okay, fine. Everyone else can now, like, he just gave up, and he was just like,
Hmm.
all right, well, this is it. Um
You you know how I interpreted that moment though, and you're right. I think he accepted it. I wouldn't say he gave up necessarily. I know they're
mm,
kind of the same thing, but I think he accepted it. I think his hesitance was his wife, right? I think that was the theme, right? Like his wife
Hmm.
dying of cancer, and then he kind of lost his direction and started to, I don't know, like going on this path of power or obsession with power. Even Hugo, right? Coleman Domingo's character calls him out for that, right? Like in that moment. But I think when she showed herself in that moment to be his wife when she walks into that trailer, like
mhm.
that was the first moment where I think I saw him going, yeah, I hate this is happening, but maybe we should let it happen. I think
Yeah.
that was that
Yeah.
one moment. You know, that's like finding the chocolate chip in a raisin oatmeal cookie. Like, oh, there's a chocolate chip in here. Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, but you're right. You're right. I think that was an interesting take, and I'm glad that we had that interpretation and that he didn't full villain out at the end like that one dude did. Right. The one
Yeah.
dude, his henchman, was more about that than
Yeah.
he was. He was like, "Nah, we got to do this, yo."
Yeah. I will
Like,
say too,
what's happening there?
I need to give a huge, massive shout out to the actress Courtney Grace, who is the NBC anchor.
Oh
Just
my God.
her
Incredible.
her emotions alone, I was like, whoa. I was like just like
Yeah,
stunned.
that was
I was
good.
stunned. It was
She
phenomenal
was dope.
how she can bring
Yeah,
emotion out of a broadcaster who is normally supposed to be, you know, no emotion. Like they're just supposed
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
be breaking the news. They're just supposed to be,
And we see that. We see
yeah,
that with her. Like she starts off with the corporate slang, right? Like the corporate talk, and she's like, "No, no, this is might not be real." And then you see that kind of change
yeah.
thematically as she keeps reporting. You're like, "Oh my gosh, she went back," and now she's like,
Hmm.
"I can't. I'm sorry, you have to watch this with me." And you're like, "Oh,
And she's even like starting to tear up and cry and
yeah,
because
Mhm.
she's understanding like this is cruel, this is not humanity, this is
yeah."
this is ridiculous, and she starts getting emotional. And I was like, that's powerful right there. Like
But that
that's
was
powerful.
why in my synopsis I wrote about empathy because when Coleman Domingo's character talks about it for a moment, it's
Mhm.
about the empathy that as humanity, as humans, we're lacking, right? That's
Yeah.
the tether that we're supposed to have that takes a small tribe in Brazilian rainforest to have something that ties them to some small tribe in the Congo,
Mm.
to a family in Idaho, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's this thing, this human experience that we all can empathize on that was missing. And that's what his character was really trying to emphasize on. And that was the basis, I think, at the end, even without talking about the religion again, without going into the politics of it, without touching it, you're right. I think she was the catalyst along with Hugo, not Hugo, Noah. Oh no, Hugo is his name. With Hugo, and Emily Blunt and all of these different characters who you start to see develop an empathetic understanding of what's happening. Down
Mm-hmm.
to when they're watching the video on the laptop, Jane and Daniel, they're watching that video
Yeah.
of the alien autopsy, and she
She's
starts to
crying.
cry, and he's like, "This is the one that turned me." And I think that's the thing that we were missing, the empathetic approach that's missing. I think that's what Spielberg and the writers actually did have at the basis of their story here was empathy that's missing for
Yeah.
each other. I think
Yeah.
that was the thing. And it takes a catastrophic event to bring the empathy out in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
the theme there. But my
But then
bad,
we
my bad.
get but then we get to the point at the very end where uh the Hugo brings out the the holy grail of it all, the trump card of it all. He brings out the alien who is like I found it quite like I kind of chuckle a little bit because it's this old alien in a wheelchair, and he has this like this little
Grandpa.
this little bubble around him. But then it dawned on me, it clicked that that alien was the one talking to Hugo the entire time,
Yeah.
telling him about Josh O'Connor, about Daniel, and about Margaret. Like he's the one relaying the message and basically like, hey, we want to, kind of be known. We want to be here. And he gets up and he just talks to, you know, he he talks to Daniel, who can understand them. No one else in the world can understand them. So, Stephen, to your point about listening to math, they do make a good point in saying, yes, you can hear math, and the math translates to words. So, like, while it is a little goofy to hear math, I think
Mhm.
in this instance, it's probably pretty cool
Beneficial.
because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when Margaret was like talking and doing all of her noises, she doesn't know what she's saying.
Right.
She's just saying like alien math. But when Daniel gets the phone and is listening to it, he's like, yeah, I know what they're saying. I can hear this clearly. Why can't you hear this clearly? It dawns on him that no one else can. So he realizes
Right.
then that he can hear this language. So when
Yeah.
the alien at the end, Grandpa alien, leans over and is like clicking and making noises, he then turns to Margaret and tells her what to say, and she goes on live television. Everyone has seen this alien speak to Daniel, and
Daniel.
Daniel is
Yeah.
relaying the message to Margaret, and Margaret is now relaying the message to the
Yeah.
people, and she just says one word: listen. And then it cuts, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
was
Yeah.
a great ending.
I was
I'm
like,
not
whoa.
even gonna lie. That was a
Like,
beautiful, yo, and people did not. This is how interesting that ending was. the people that was in my theater did not get up. Even though the credits rolled, they sat there. I got up instantly and I left. And I was like, I know that's the ending because what happens next is us. And I left. Like, if I would have stood up
Wait,
on my milk box at that point,
Bruce,
uh,
you missed the post credit scene?
No.
don't you? I looked if there was a post credit scene. There isn't. I
Well,
checked
here's the thing.
before I leave any theater.
We know that Bruce looked it up because Bruce has the worst theater etiquette that we've ever seen. He is texting us
Listen,
images
don't
of the
hate on
movie
my
while eating. No,
screenshots,
he is texting
thumbnails.
us
Come
images
on.
of the movie, and he was like, "Oh, for the synopsis, brother. We watched the movie. We know the movie.
It was
You don't gotta
it
take
was
pictures in
so
the theater."
funny. It
I'm
Yo,
was
you
sitting there
so
like,
thought
this
that was
funny.
the
guy's gonna
worst?
go to
Tell him
jail.
about my taco. Let me tell him about.
Oh my god.
Let me tell him.
That is a
Y'all got
whole
bail
nother
money.
episode.
Listen,
That is a whole other episode for theater etiquette, and it's
wait,
gonna be
wait, wait.
taking
But
Bruce
let
to
me just
school.
at least say this. Listen. I come from a school that we didn't have movie etiquette. We were the etiquette at the time. Like you didn't bring nothing to eat. What's wrong with you? Pass that chicken down. So yeah,
Terrible.
I ate Taco Bell.
Terrible.
I'm not paying $30 for no popcorn. I was like, yo, I'm eating like a five
I
layer
am.
burrito or Crunch Wrap Supreme, 2 or 3 tacos. I was in it. I brought my
Yeah,
own
but you're gonna
soda.
stink up that theater.
Zero. Boy, there was me and that theater and
That's
that theater
crazy.
Oh
seat.
god.
But it was good. Yeah.
That is
Anyways,
That's crazy.
but
yeah.
no, I love the ending, man. Just back to
Yeah,
the movie.
yeah.
That ending
It's good.
was poetic.
I
Yeah,
will
yeah,
say,
yeah. I
joking, all joking aside, Bruce, you didn't miss any post credit scenes, but what you did miss, and I stated this to Josh, or like you mentioned, Steven, earlier, because in Josh's review, one of his negatives that he has about the film, and I'm just going to say this real quick, I hope it's okay with Josh, is he didn't like that John Williams was attached to this because he didn't feel like it was a John Williams esque music. And I asked him, I said, "Did you
oh,
stay?" I said, "Did you stay for the ending?" And he was like, "No, we left." And I said, "The credits is really
Mhm.
when you hear John Williams because
oh,
that
really?
score was
Yeah.
so good. Like the
Okay.
entire credits, like because I did the same thing. The movie ended and I knew there was no credits, but I sat there and just digested everything. I was just like, just listening because like yeah, you can definitely hear John Williams in that
Wow.
ending.
Okay. Missed
I'm pre-ordering
opportunity
the
on my
vinyl
Yeah,
part.
just because the
That
score was
yeah,
so good.
yeah. I mean, it
yeah.
was. I will say there was some moments where I was like, okay, this is John Williams, and the other moments I was like, is this like, is it like I couldn't tell like fully, but that the end of the movie when the credits hit, and what's crazy too is normally when the credits hit, the lights kind of come up, like I don't know about y'all theaters, but the lights kind of
Yeah.
like go from nothing to dim.
Yeah.
Our lights
Yeah.
didn't even move, like they just stayed black the entire
Oh
time.
wow.
Yeah, and I
That's
was like, all
smart.
right. So we sat there in the
Yeah.
theater and we were just like, yeah, it was great. But overall, I think for the listeners, these are just our opinions. If y'all have seen the movie, comment down below.
Yeah.
Let us know in what you think of the movie. Did you like it? Did you not like it? But hey, we're all
Yeah.
friendly here, so please be nice in
Yeah.
the comments. But
Yeah.
we'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on it. Gentlemen, do y'all have any last uh, bits of things for the
Just watch the
audience?
movie. Just watch it, man. I think it's a theater experience movie. I mean, John Williams, as you pointed out, scored it. Spielberg shot it. I mean, it's a even though it gets a 4 from me, it is a great 4 to watch in a theater. This isn't something you watch in your home. You take this to the movies. You enjoy the movie theater experience. It's worth it. That's my final thought on that. And let us know again. Let us know what you guys think about it. Give us some feedback on our analysis, but even share with us your thoughts on what you saw in the movie. We're here for that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Steven, anything?
Other than what the guys have said, just make sure to follow the pod on every platform. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you have social media, we're pretty much there. Um, Especially our YouTube. Make sure you go through, like, follow, and subscribe. I mean, it helps us deliver and push out more content. And it gauges what you guys want to see. So I mean that helps us out when it comes down to reviews, and we're still going to do the podcast. Obviously, it's going to be a weekly thing as it always is, but we're going to shift to a video centric view soon. So we're going to do some more video essays on there. But through and through, watch Disclosure Day, check out the show, watch our previous episodes, and we hope you guys have a great day.
And lastly, just listen.
Past the silver screen, Steven, JT, Bruce, let's look past them together. Together.